Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, the One Piece podcast.
Today we are discussing Chapter 135, Unprecedented.
And unprecedented is the right word, because the walking, talking pile of garbage that is Wapol is officially back on Drum Island. He's the human equivalent of finding something slimy at the bottom of your sink drain.
A vivid, if unsettling, metaphor. He has returned to the kingdom he abandoned, and his presence immediately poisons the air.
He wastes no time either. He sees the Straw Hat ship and immediately decides to make an example of them. It's like he hasn't even had a hot meal yet, and his first thought is, how can I be the absolute worst person possible today?
It speaks to his priorities. Power is his nourishment.
This is exactly the kind of tyrant that makes your blood boil. If you want to see us break down every single punch that is eventually going to land on this guy's stupid hinged face, make sure you're following the pod. We're not going to miss a single one. I'm already counting them down.
It's a collision course, and it feels like the whole island is about to erupt. The quiet snow is just a blanket over a volcano of tension.
Let's get into it. The chapter kicks off right where we left off, with Dalton.
He's leading Vivi and Usopp through the snow, on their way to a village called Cocoweed to find Dr. Kureha. The atmosphere is heavy, not just from the cold, but from the weight of their mission.
And the first thing he does is apologize. He feels bad for assuming Kureha wouldn't be back, for misjudging her. I mean, come on, who does that? In the middle of a blizzard, on a desperate mission, and his first thought is to take personal responsibility for a minor miscalculation.
It's such a small moment, but it tells you everything you need to know about his character. He's a leader who takes responsibility. Compare that to the leaders we've seen so far. Captain Morgan was a deluded dictator. Kuro was a manipulative schemer. Arlong ruled through terror and racial supremacy. Dalton is cut from a different cloth entirely.
He absolutely is. This is the complete opposite of a guy like Wapol. Wapol would blame the snow for being too cold. He'd blame Vivi for getting sick in the first place. Dalton immediately internalizes it. He looks at his own judgment and finds it lacking. Dalton is humble, he's got this powerful sense of duty, and you can just tell he's carrying the weight of his entire country on his shoulders.
That's a perfect way to put it. He isn't just carrying his own burdens. He's carrying the collective memory and suffering of his people. And then we learn that he was the former head of the Royal Guard, the leader of Drum's entire military force.
That detail just clicks everything into place. It's like finding the last piece of a puzzle. He's not just some tough villager who stepped up when things got bad. He was the official protector of the kingdom, the top dog, the one whose entire job was to prevent exactly what happened. And in his eyes, he failed when Wapol took over.
It reframes his entire journey. This isn't just about helping some sick people in a village. This is about atonement for him. Every step he takes through that deep snow is a step towards trying to undo his greatest failure. He's not just fighting the elements, he's fighting his own past.
You can feel it. It's in his posture, the set of his jaw. You can feel that he let his people down once and he will not let it happen again. That's why he's so dead set on finding a doctor, on fixing what's been broken. It's not just about Nami or Vivi anymore. Healing them is a symbolic act of healing his nation.
It explains so much about his earlier actions, why he was so quick to stand up to Wapol's men in the previous town, why he risked his life for strangers. He's trying to reclaim his country's honor and his own. It's the quiet, somber burden of a good man who believes he stood by while evil flourished.
He's a real one, a true protector. You see a guy like that and you just want to have his back, you know? He's the kind of guy you build a new country around.
And while Dalton is on this solemn mission of penance and duty, Luffy and Sanji are dealing with a much different, much fluffier problem. The tonal whiplash is just so characteristic of this story.
Fluffy and apparently extremely violent. I love it. They run face first into a pack of lapins, and let's be clear, these are not your garden variety bunnies. These things are giant mountain-sized rabbits. They look like they could eat a snowmobile for a snack. They are apex predators that just happen to look adorable.
They are designated as carnivorous snow rabbits, which is a terrifying combination of words. And for some reason, they are very aggressive. They immediately get ready to attack Luffy and Sanji, who are carrying a very sick and vulnerable Nami.
The tension spikes, but then Sanji just lays down the law. He's in full-on guardian mode. He's got Nami on his back, she's burning up with fever, and he looks Luffy dead in the eyes and makes him swear, do not fight. Do not do anything that could possibly jostle or hurt Nami.
It's a brilliant moment for Sanji. He knows Luffy's instincts. He knows that if he just said, be careful, Luffy would interpret that as, beat them up carefully. Instead, he gives a direct, absolute command that appeals to Luffy's code of honor. He's not just giving an order, he's extracting a sacred vow.
And Luffy, bless his simple, loyal heart, takes it with the utmost seriousness, which is, both his greatest strength and often the source of immense complications.
A promise to a friend is absolute. It is a fundamental law of Luffy's universe, more powerful than gravity. So you get this incredible scene of Luffy, a guy who solves most problems with his fists, a guy with the power of a cannonball, just dodging.
Pure evasion. It's beautiful. These massive creatures, these fuzzy wrecking balls are trying to maul him, and he's just weaving and bobbing between them without throwing a single punch. He's treating it like a dance. He's not even mad at them. He's just focused on upholding his promise.
It's hilarious, but it's also so perfect for his character. His crew's safety, a promise he made to Sanji, overrides his most basic instinct to fight. That's the captain right there. Not the one who gives the orders, but the one who carries the weight of his promises to his crew.
Sanji knew exactly what he was doing. He played Luffy like a fiddle. He appealed to Luffy's loyalty, not his logic. He didn't say fighting them will waste energy. He said, promise me you'll protect Nami. Checkmate.
The strategic intelligence of their core fighters is often overlooked. We see Luffy's combat instinct, Zoro's overwhelming power, but here we see Sanji's tactical understanding of his own captain. He knows which levers to pull.
And what's the result of this genius plan? Luffy ends up with an entire pack of giant killer rabbits chasing him through the snow, because of course he does. He turns a confrontation into a high-speed chaotic chase scene that's probably going to intersect with something far more serious later.
It's a classic Grand Line moment, taking something harmless from the real world, a rabbit, and turning it into a legitimate, terrifying monster. It's a recurring thing in these seas. It reinforces that none of the rules from the blues apply here. Everything is bigger, weirder, and more dangerous.
And Luffy loves accidentally making friends with them, or at least making them chase him. Remember Momo, our long sea cow? Luffy punched him once, and the poor guy was terrified of him forever. This time, he's not punching them, so maybe they'll end up liking him. It's gonna lead somewhere ridiculous. You just know it. You just know that stampede of Lappins is going to come back in a big way.
But just as we're settling into that bit of absurdist comedy, the whole mood shifts on a dime. Over on the coast, the quiet is broken.
And here he is, Wapol. The mood just plummets. He surfaces in that ridiculous tin-plated hippo submarine of his, the Blinken. It even looks dumb. It's a perfect reflection of its owner. Bulky, ugly, and trying way too hard to look intimidating, but just looking pathetic.
He's just oozing this slimy, arrogant confidence. The first words out of his mouth are about how the country is his, how he's the king. There's no concern for the people, no question about what happened in his absence, just pure, unadulterated ego.
He's so pleased with himself, gloating about how he's back to reclaim his castle, how the country is his again. He has one of the most punchable faces I've ever seen in this series, and that's saying something. We've met a lot of punchable people.
He is truly grotesque. The metal jaw, which we later learn is a result of his own devil fruit power, gives him this unnatural predatory look. The sneer is permanently etched on his face. He embodies the sickness of the kingdom he created, a nation consumed by a selfish, gluttonous leader.
And as he's basking in his own glory, doing his whole I'm the king of the world thing on the deck of his stupid hippo submarine, he spots something in the distance.
The Going Merry. Docked at the shore, with the straw hat Jolly Roger flying proudly, a symbol of freedom and defiance, just sitting there.
And the switch just flips. You can see the gears turn in his nasty little head. Plan A, go to the castle, bask in my former glory, is out the window. His face twists into this malicious grin.
His new plan is immediate and brutal. He's changing course for a town called Bighorn, not towards the Merry, but towards a town near the Merry.
Specifically to kill the Straw Hats. But not just to kill them, he wants to do it with an audience. Now, think about the calculus here. He has no idea who they are. They could be anybody. For all he knows, they're just lost travelers. But he sees a pirate flag and identifies them not as a threat, but as an opportunity, an illegal presence he can use.
He sees them as a prop for his big return, a stage prop. That's all our crew is to him. It's so cold.
Exactly. He's not going to his seat of power, the castle on the mountain. He's going to a populated town. He wants an audience. He is, in essence, a performer, and his art is cruelty.
He's going to crush these random pirates in front of his former subjects to send a message. It's political theater 101 for a dictator.
The message is, I'm back in charge. This is what happens to anyone who defies me. This is what happens to lawlessness. It's a classic move for a tyrant, a public execution to reestablish fear and control. He needs to remind the populace of their helplessness.
And our crew just sailed right into the middle of it. They have no idea they've just been cast as the villains in this guy's comeback tour. Zoro is just on the ship, probably training or napping, completely unaware. They are completely innocent of any wrongdoing on this island.
They're just trying to find a doctor for Nami, and they've inadvertently become the symbol of opposition that Wapol needs to solidify his return to power. The irony is staggering. The Straw Hats, who are here on a mission of healing, are about to be branded as a disease that must be purged by the true sickness of the island, Wapol.
That's chilling, bro. They're completely innocent in this, but to him, they're the perfect scapegoat. It's a no-risk move for him. Who's going to defend a pirate crew? He gets to look strong without any real political blowback. It's disgusting.
And that brings all the separate plot lines crashing together in these final tense moments. The way it's all constructed is masterful.
It really is. Meanwhile, Dalton, Vivi, and Usopp finally make it to Cocoa Bead. They've been trekking all this way, through the freezing cold, pinning all their hopes on finding Dr. Correa here. You can feel the exhaustion and the desperation.
But they're too late. The villagers tell them she was there, but she's already gone. She moves around, they say. She never stays in one place for long.
That moment of despair, you can just feel the hope drain out of the room. Their one lead, their only hope for Nami and for this country, just vanished. Usopp just collapses. Vivi's face is just crestfallen. They're back to square one, but now they're even more tired and hopeless.
And before they can even process that disappointment, before they can formulate a new plan, the real alarm bell rings. A terrified villager bursts in, screaming, Wapol is back. His ship, the Blicking, has been spotted offshore. The name hits the room like a physical shockwave.
And he's not heading for the castle, the seat of the government. He's on a direct course for another town, Bighorn. To any normal person, that might be confusing, but Dalton knows better.
The news hits Dalton like a physical blow. You just see it on his face. The despair over the doctor is gone, replaced by something harder, colder. The mission has changed completely. The protector is back on duty.
There's no hesitation, no discussion. He doesn't ask for opinions. He just turns to go back. His duty as a protector just superseded everything else. The search for a doctor was important, but the defense of his people from a direct threat is paramount.
He knows exactly what Wapol is. He knows what Wapol heading to a civilian town means. It means violence. It means cruelty. It means an example is about to be made. He has to intercept him. He has to be the shield.
It's a perfect convergence. Wapol is heading to Bighorn to make a violent statement using the Straw Hats as his props. Dalton is heading there to stop him, to protect the very idea of his country from his former king.
And Luffy, our agent of chaos, our wild card, is currently leading a stampede of giant carnivorous lapins somewhere in the wilderness, probably in that general direction because where else would he be going?
It's a powder keg. Every single character is now on a collision course with the town of Bighorn, and none of them have the full picture. Wapol doesn't know who the Straw Hats are. Dalton doesn't know the Straw Hats are the targets, and Luffy and Sanji have no idea a malevolent king or their honorable new acquaintance even exist.
This is what the story does so well. It's like all these different pieces are moving independently. The noble warrior, the selfish tyrant, the chaotic hero, and then they're all just pointed at the same spot on the map to crash into each other. It's going to be an absolute storm.
The calm of this snow-covered island is about to be shattered. The silence will be broken by the clash of ideals, fists, and perhaps giant rabbit feet.
Man, this is all going to explode next chapter. It has to. If you've got a theory on how this Wapol confrontation is going to go down, drop it in the comments. We read every single one.
It helps us piece things together. Okay, predictions. What do you have?
All right, first up, Dalton versus Wapol is happening in Bighorn. It has to, and we're going to see Dalton's devil fruit power for the first time. He's clearly a Zoan user. We got that hint when he was called a monster before. I'm betting on some kind of bovine fruit, like a bison or an ox, something sturdy and powerful that fits his personality. Wapol is going to force his hand in front of everyone.
I agree a confrontation is coming, and I think you're right about the Zoan fruit. My first prediction, however, is that Wapol won't fight him fairly. He'll threaten the villagers of Bighorn directly, maybe take a child hostage, to force Dalton to stand down. He strikes me as the type who avoids a real fight at all costs, preferring to use leverage and cruelty. He'll try to make Dalton choose between fighting him and protecting a civilian.
Ooh, that's dark, and that sounds exactly like him. He's a coward at his core. My second prediction, Luffy and his new Lapin army are going to stumble right into the middle of this standoff. He's just going to come crashing through a wall, being chased, completely oblivious, and totally derail whatever tense moment is happening between Wapol and Dalton. The rabbits will cause chaos, Luffy will see Wapol being a jerk, and the whole situation will escalate in a way nobody could have predicted.
That feels almost inevitable. The Agent of Chaos must make his entrance. My second prediction is about Dr. Kureha. She wasn't at Cocoweed, and I don't think she's just wandering aimlessly. The villagers say she moves around, but I think her primary residence is the one place no one would think to look for a doctor. Drum Castle, the abandoned royal castle on top of the highest mountain. It's the most dramatic location, it's isolated, and it fits the legend. The witch lives in the abandoned king's castle.
Dude, that makes so much sense. Why wouldn't she? It's probably got great amenities. I love that. Okay, last one from me. We know Wapol is heading to Bighorn to make an example of the Straw Hats, but he saw their ship, the Mary. My prediction is that while the main confrontation is happening in town, Wapol is going to send his goons, Chess and Marimo, to destroy the ship. He wants to wipe them out completely. But he doesn't know who's on board. He's about to send his lackeys up against a sleeping, very grumpy Zoro, and it's not going to go well for them.
An interesting thought. It would certainly subvert expectations. My final prediction is more about the lore. I think next chapter, through Dalton or one of the villagers in Bighorn, we'll learn the specific reason for the doctor hunt. Wapol didn't just banish doctors out of simple cruelty, though he is cruel. It was a calculated move to control the population by monopolizing medicine. We'll get the ugly details of his Ishii 20 system, the 20 elite doctors that work only for him, and how he used the health of his people as a political weapon.
The whole system is sick. He weaponized healthcare. He's a monster. All right, that's what we've got. Some big swings in there.
We'll see who was right next time as the Drum Island arc truly ignites. Thank you for listening to Inherited Dawn.